Hello all. So today we'll be discussing about cloud storage. So let's start our class. Okay, so what is cloud storage? It is nothing but storage for unstructured data, anything that is not database, tables and rows. We can store picture, videos, files and script, and it is the size is like virtually limitless slice size. Then when it comes to usage, it will be like pay per use, note allocation or elastic. Then in the cloud storage bucket, the primary unit is a bucket and access is managed via IAM, and it can be arranged in file format for organization purpose. Then inside the contents of the bucket we will store a file, right? So in that we'll call this as object. So object has nothing but files inside a bucket, and nodes like folders are also considered objects, and inherit actually bucket permission and storage classes. Then what are the type of storage class available? We have a regional, multi-regional, nearline and cold line. So that you will see now. Go to here, go to the left hand side, the navigation menu, go to the storage section, go to browser. I have already created two buckets. Just let's create. We are actually seeing the storage classes now. So we will see that. See, this is the various storage classes available: multi-regional, regional, nearline and cold line. So multi-region in the sense your bucket will be in the multiple geographical region. So this is actually used like if your company having more than one branches, like one in US and one in Asia. So we will store the bucket data in multi-regional storage classes. You can see the storage, pricing cost will be 0.026 per GB per month, and the retrieval cost is nothing but taking the data is free of cost, and the rate is like 0.005 per thousand ops. This is nothing but multi-regional is like geo redundant. Then we have the regional. Regional is where your data resides in one geographical region. One geographical region in the sense, suppose we'll take an example of Flipkart where we have operation only in India. So there the cloud storage bucket will only resides in India. That is here when Google will see will have only in the Mumbai region, but it can have different zone. Here you can see the storage cost is 0.02 GB, retrieval cost is free, this one. Then we have the nearline where the data are like will access once in a month data. So that's why the retrieval cost is 0.01 per GB, and the storage cost is less because here we will it is focused on retrieval of data which is used to retrieve like once in a month. So it is like almost less critical data, we can say. Then we have the cold line. Cold line is nothing but an archiving solution where all the data will be going to the cold line, and we will be accessing the cold line like once in a 6 month or once in a year. So in that case the retrieval cost is 0.05 per GB. You can compare the retrieval cost of cold line plus near line. So cost price multi-region is high, then we have regional, then we have near line, and then we have cold line. Okay, we'll see the next. Then changing storage classes, as I said, nearline and cold line can be regional and multi-regional, and we cannot change from multi-regional to regional and vice versa. Then changing class only affects new objects. Existing objects are will be on this same old rule. Then previous objects are previous classes, like I said. Like in a bucket, if two objects are in the multi-regional and you change it to cold line, then only the new objects are applicable. The previous objects will still be in the older zone. Or the object can be moved to another bucket. Then same class can be used as a web console. Then we will be using gsutil for different storage class operations. This is the command to create a bucket. gsutil mb1 us central 1 nearline cs gstsrt. We will see that. Open the gcloud shell. gsutil make bucket -l. What is the location? us central 1 c. What is the storage class, which is -c. Nearline, the name of the bucket, tsrt. Creating the bucket now. Bucket has been created. We'll refresh the screen. See, the bucket has been created, us central 1 per object. Then how to access the bucket? One is like access management principle through IAM and through ACL. Then security is through IAM, same IAM principle as rest of GCP, hierarchical in nature, granted at project resource or individual bucket but not objects. It's possible to grant access to manage bucket but not view read object. When we have the IAM roles, we have the roles we have seen earlier, like one is primitive project level roles, owner, editor and viewer. Then we have the standard storage roles, work independently from ICL because it is not dependent on ICL. Then storage admins apply to either project or individual bucket, storage object admin, storage object viewer, storage object creator. We have the legacy roles, work with ACL permissions, storage legacy bucket owner, storage legacy bucket reader, storage legacy bucket writer. We'll see this in just a second. Like if you go here, we'll minimize the screen first. Go to here, this choose this bucket. We'll give edit bucket permission. See here we can see storage object viewer. Then the legacy which has seen storage object owner, reader, writer, owner, reader. Then ACL is like define who has access to bucket objects and what level of access, and it can be applied to bucket or individual objects. Object inherit ACL from default bucket ACL, then but can also be independent. Lots of overlapping is between ACM and ACL, which it is actually down from the Google site, because they are also saying like you will feel like there is a lot of overlapping between the permission of IAM and ACL. When it comes to the best practice, you always prefer to use IAM over ACL when it comes to permissions, because IAM gives enterprise grade control across all GCP. Then IAM leaves an audit trail for access. When in doubt, use IAM, because when you don't know where to use IAM and ACL, it's always preferable to use IAM. However, use ACL to grant access to an object without granting access to bucket. More fine-grained control. It is like more like a predefined. Signed URL timed access to object. Suppose we have a scenario like you want to give access to an user of a particular object only for like 1 hour period of time. So in that case, signed URL command case, it is like we'll set a timer on access to bucket or an object, useful for temporary giving access without the need of signing in with the Google account. Then give user read, write or delete access for limited period, and anyone with the URL can access within the limited time period. Then comes the one more best practices of the regarding credential on the cloud storage is like never share your credentials, and remove application access when no longer needed. Don't make bucket name as target because it is actually easy traceable, so that's why it's recommend don't make bucket name as the target. Then use group over individual users for IAM whenever possible. Then check default object ACL before adding objects. Make sure publicly readable data is intended. Then use signed URL for secure access without the need of Google account. We have one more feature in cloud storage is like object versioning and lifecycle management. Then this is like retrieve objects that are deleted on overwritten. How versioning is useful is like it helps us to retrieve objects that are deleted or overwritten, and it applied to bucket level. It is actually disabled by default, and when enabled, deleted and overwritten objects are archived instead of bucket. We will be seeing the lab on object versioning and lifecycle management. And objects keep same name but paired with unique identifier number. If versioning is enabled, existing version remain but new one not created. As I said, what are the actions possible with versioning? We can like list archive versions, restore live versions to an older state, permanently delete older versions. Versioning consideration: what are the things we need to consider while enabling or disabling versioning? Like no default limit on versioning, it can increase the bucket size and cost greatly. Like if versioning is enabled on a particular bucket size and you keep editing your object, then the more copies of object will be created. So as a result, the bucket size will also get increased. As the size increase, it's also, so your cost will also get increased. Archive version retain own ACL, which may not be same as the live version. Versioning properties. Versioning properties: when you enable version, you will have a generation number. It will get updated when an object content is overwritten. Meta generation: meta generation is metadata generation change. Metadata will be like suppose we have an object which is created on Jan 1st 2019. So metadata of the object will be the date creation, then the size of the object. Then when it comes to object lifecycle management, it set time to live on an object, archive, delete an older version, downgrade storage classes, apply to bucket level. It implemented with combination of rules, conditions and actions. So like say you will use an object lifecycle is like you want to move your existing contents of the object into another storage classes. So in those cases we'll be using lifecycle management. Then condition which we define in lifecycle management is age. It is time to live, created before, object created before midnight of specific data, which is the threshold value you will give. Then is live, it's live or archived version of objects. Matches stored storage class. Condition matches specified storage class. The number of newer version consists met with number of newer version than targeted is reached. Then actions: we can delete version or unversion, delete live objects, created archive objects, and deleting archive objects deletes permanently. Deleted objects cannot be recovered. Then set storage class, change storage class of affected objects. Remember, cannot go from regional to multi-regional and vice versa. We cannot change the storage classes here. Regional standard we can change from near regional, nearline and cold line. Multi-regional multi-standard is multi-regional, nearline and cold line. So now we will see the lab here. First we will check the versioning part. GSUtil versioning help here. We can set version get, bucket URL, etc. We'll check whether the versioning is set or not. Okay, we'll check for this one. CStore GSUtil versioning get. So GSUtil versioning get GS CStore. Here it's showing versioning is enabled. We will first disable the version or util versioning set store GS CStore. The versioning has been suspended. Then we'll check gsutil versioning get, we'll check once more, gscstore. See, versioning has been suspended. We will enable the version once again with using the command same gsutil versioning set on. The versioning has been enabled. We have two files here, we'll check that. We'll open gsutil in a new window just for the clarity. Then we will view the archive version. Like we will see whether is there any archive version present in the bucket. Okay. Here you can see last modified, so the archive version must be present. We will see that the command is gsutil lsa gs, gsutil ls minus a gsutil ls minus a gs cstore. See, many archive version are present here. This is the generation number. You can see here. Just for the clarity, we will upload one more file here. We'll upload some simple notepad file, lab IIM. Yeah, this one we will upload. The file is uploading. You can see in the right part it's 100% fine. Okay, so we will check once again. See, ls minus a will show the archived version, but if you type just ls, it will show the current. We have credential folder iam lab.iam.txt. As I said, credential folder lab.iam.txt we have. Okay, so what I will do here, next operation will be how to copy the archived version into the present file. Okay, so that we will see now. First we will see whether, see, this is our file which is showing. Okay, just remember this. Now we will do one thing, we will edit that file. Okay, cstore, this is 3 of our content. Then list our archival list ls minus a gs cstore. See, we have one archive version of this one, lab.iam text dot this one. What we do is how to copy the archived version to the existing one. So gsutil cp will go as gsutil cp copy our archived version which is into gs cstore. Just give the file name. Oh, sorry, we don't have this one actually. Okay, operation has been completed. See, earlier file.txt was not there. Now we have actually restored the deleted file.txt from the archived version. I'll show you here. See, we have restored file.txt with the generation number. This one we have restored from the archive version to new one, file.txt. I will show you one more thing. gsutil ls gs cstore. See, before when we list the contents, it has credential, folder and lab, just 3 files. But now after restoring the this archived version file.txt, now we have credential, file, folder, lab. So this is how we can retrieve our old files or deleted files from the archived version to the present file. Now we'll see the next one. What are operation? How to completely delete an archived file, completely deleted file. So what we will do here, we'll completely delete this one. First we will list our archived version, gsutil ls-a gs. We have our bucket name cstore. Now we want to delete, just say lab this archived version. How we will do that? Gs, what is the command? gsutil rm. gsutil rm, then copy the entire thing. It has entirely removed this one into archived version 2. So we will check this one, gsutil ls-a gs cstore. See, credential 15515054 will not be there, 5056 is there, 5054 is not there. So it has completely deleted the archived version. Okay, now how to remove everything? You want to remove, like see, here we have selected a specific files or specific type of versioning, right? For instance, you want to delete everything from the bucket in a one go. So in that case we will use the command gsutil rm gs cstore / everything. Everything is removed. See, all your bucket is empty now. Then we will check the regarding lifecycle policy. Go to any specific bucket. Doesn't have any contents. Go to overview. No, it is actually permission. See, adding lifecycle rules. On what criteria, like age, how many days, we can give 3. Then selection, then continue, where we want to give our object, like objects 2 days old, it will go to, we can delete that object, continue, then we can save. See, our life cycle has been, policy has been set. For example, you want to change it, just go here, or instead of 2 you can give storage class, we can give based on storage class also, plus days also, and instead of storage class also we can give like object who's less than 2 days old, plus which is in the storage class of standard or regional, then continue. Once it cannot be restored, then go to continue, save. So that's how we can set the life cycle policies.